Hello everyone. This is have you started the live stream, Gaurav?
We are live now.
Okay. So, hello everyone. This is Meshery CI build and release call where we discuss all the items related to CI/CD, data workflows, and testing and integration tests. So in this meeting, we would be going through a number of tasks which you are working on right now, or you may have been assigned to those issues. So before we get moving to our agenda item, let's get started with our housekeeping items in which first of all, make sure you add your names in the meeting minutes. And the next thing is we take, if you are new to this call, then you should introduce yourself because so that we can get to know each other. So let me see. Who are new? Roshan, are you new to this call? Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm new to this call, but I'm attended two meetings. There I introduce myself.
Yeah, then also you can because usually people who join this call might not be joining the other calls, so it's okay.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Roshan Goswami. I have completed my engineering in computer science and currently I'm working as a software tester. And I also have experience as a Java developer around 4 years. And thanks for the opportunity which is given by the Meshery to work as open source because I'm very passionate for working for open source. So that's why I'm here. And it's great for me to learning the new things and contribute to the open source. That's it from my side.
Okay, and what's your favorite color?
My
Your favorite color?
my favorite color red.
Okay. Mine is blue.
Okay.
Devarsh, what are you new to this call?
Yes, I had attended
Yes.
attended this call first time. So let me introduce myself. My name is Devar Shah, and I am a DevOps enthusiast. And I am right now in third year of my college, and I will transition into my fourth year in some days. And right now I am giving my external examinations. So, and I am very enthusiastic about DevOps things and open source communities and joining and working and contributing on them. So, thank you.
Okay. And what's your favorite color?
Mine is blue too.
Okay. I think Anupreet, are you new to this call? Would you like to introduce yourself?
No, I have attended the last meeting, last call.
Okay. So I think
Yeah, I'm new to this call. May I?
yes, sure, go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I am Prashant, and I am a React developer studying BE mechanical engineer in from India. And this is my first project as a open source, and for a week I have been attending meetings, and this is the first meeting of Meshery development. So
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I thought I heard him say green. Did he say green? Is that what?
no,
Oh, beautiful. Prasanth, did you say, so you said you're studying mechanical engineering and then I missed it. You said, how far along are you in your program? Couple of years?
no. My programming started from way before I indulged into mechanical engineering.
Oh, yeah, very good.
From 12th grade, 11th, 12th grade, I think. Yeah, at the age of 16, I guess.
Nerd. No, yeah, no, that's fantastic. Actually, what I meant to ask, that's wonderful. What I meant to ask is, how far along are you into your mechanical engineering program? Like, are you into how far along in school are you?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's about. I finished 2 years, and I'm in a junior year of college. Yeah, bachelor's.
Nice.
I think we have covered everyone. So let's get started with our items on agenda items. So first, the most important and standing agenda item which we take care in all the meetings is the Meshery test plan. Um, so let me introduce this to all of you because we will be working on this. Um, if you like integration and different types of testing. So first thing to know is that Meshery Meshery as a tool is a cloud native manager and has a lot of different components, whether it's your adapters, whether it's your operators, or whether it's Meshery itself. And all these different components resides in different repositories and in different organizations. So for in order to have consistency and have confidence on a software, we must do testing, and that's the reason we enforce our we do a lot of different tests, and we ensure that our tests always pass, whether it's the UI testing or the backend testing. So there is a mystery test plan. There are two different spreads. There's one spreadsheet and there are different sheets in them. The first one is this one, which actually discusses different kind of tests. The kind of the environment in which the test should be performed, the different scenarios which it will take care of, and the actions. And you can go through the different columns, and basically it then signifies whether we are taking care of that in an E2E test or not. Now, and if you're new and you don't know what E2E is, E2E basically means end-to-end testing, which basically is like whenever you test a complete functionality of a software that is from start to end, then we call it as end-to-end. So that is one thing, and this spreadsheet basically takes care of that. And what we're trying to do here is that we need to ensure that different components are tested properly. And the other state in this thing is an overview of different tests that resides in different repositories. So whether it's build and preview test for Meshery repo, whether it's the Docker build test for the binary, and similarly, it's like that. So if you are interested in working on these, so like we discussed it last time as well, so you might want to add your name in a separate column so that we different folks in the communities are aware of what kind of test you're working on. And in case you have any doubts on how to proceed with that, or if you have any other issues while you go through it, then you can ask those questions in the specific CI channel. So I think Philip, if he's on the call, I think he was working on a couple of tests on this, especially I think he was working on filtered unit testing. So like, if anybody else have any questions on this, then they can ask.
Yeah, I have a question. So if I wanted to get into, well, if I wanted to get my name on one of these, sounds like you were saying, hey, just drop a comment or drop your name, and kind of maybe I would just go drop my name, open up a GitHub issue to just to track the fact that I'm, outside of the spreadsheet, track the fact that I'm doing some work. But it strikes me that maybe there's two different types of work that is done within here. And I guess like some of this might be by way of writing some Golang for unit tests, but if I'm not very good at Golang, are there other tests that are written using like GitHub workflows or something like if I wrote basically an integration test inside of a GitHub workflow, would that work? Like, and how does that work?
Yeah, actually, if we talk about one of our components, that is Meshery Istio adapter. Let me give you a quick overview of that. So Meshery Istio adapter is an adapter to install and have different functionalities of Istio service mesh. So what this basically does is that it helps whenever it connects to our Meshery server through a gRPC call. When Meshery connects to it, then Meshery can install the Istio service mesh. It can install different sample applications and a lot of different functionalities. So for doing the testing, we have an E2E test for this thing, which yes. So basically what it does is that this end-to-end test, what it does is uses Meshery to install the Meshery Istio Istio service mesh using Meshery Istio adapter. Once it's installed, then we have little enforcement over here, which we check whether these specific ports come up or not. So basically, if the Istio adapter was working fine, then after installing the Istio service mesh, then this port should have come up. And if these enforcement are correct, then we can say that this test passed. So recently, this is one of the example in which we can do end-to-end testing just through the GitHub workflows, which basically is about installing the service mesh for the Istio adapter.
I'm following you. To repeat this briefly, in order to make an impact here, I don't need to know Go, which I think is kind of nice.
Yes.
We have example workflows that will take care of deploying, like spinning up a Ubuntu system, deploying Kubernetes, and then kind of leaving me at a place where I can invoke some Meshery CTL commands.
Yes.
To test out, like there looked like there was a lot of stuff. There looked like there was a lot of rows inside of that test plan spreadsheet. So I could, if I want, so yeah, I could invoke any number of like different parameters and different flags and try them out. And some of that is, I mean, some of those maybe it sounds like maybe if I wanted for some of the tests to on purpose fail, like I could write some negative tests, like I provided garbage input on one of the, okay. And then we would just, it would be a passing test if the thing failed, you know.
Yeah.
We like, because it strikes me that there's a number of people that are on the call that might be wanting to jump in. Meshery and all of its tech, hard to, like easier to swallow in a bite-sized format. You know, when there's just like a, so that's nice that all that's taken care of. It's nice that I don't have to work with a specific programming language, that I can just put a little bit of YAML and it sounds like just some commands right here. And I can first test out the commands just on my own system, in my own terminal, just to see how they behave, and then put them into workflows. I know there's something that we do. I'm going to send a message about it in the chat. Is that there for any number of these tests, the output of these tests, the pass or fail of them is automatically published to the Meshery docs.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool because then I don't even have to wait for a release for my work to be published. And the neat thing is, I mean, there's a lot of platforms to provide support for. So these are real tests that have been run very recently. They're run all the time. The red X's make me nervous because we want to have them all green. But that's very helpful that we see the red X's here. So that's pretty cool. Oh, okay, and then if you drill in, you get very like the specific test that was run, and we can look at the test results, okay, of each step. So if you, okay, this is pretty cool. Okay, so what you were saying, Pranav, is that if you're here to get your hands dirty, like that spreadsheet is something that's talked about every single time that this meeting is held, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so, well, I mean, Meshery has a lot of functionality. We would ideally have all of these covered, all of these test cases that are defined. And I know there've been a couple of new Meshery CTL commands that have been added recently. So not only do all of these need covered, but there's new commands that have yet to even, commands about WebAssembly filters,
yeah.
Which sounds like a whole other area that I don't understand, but sounds interesting. Maybe a soft way of getting familiar with some of that other tech is by working on things like this.
Yeah.
Well, so anybody on the call want to slap their name on one of these? Everybody still feeling uncomfortable? Everybody feeling shy? Some of you have your webcams on. That's really nice. Guess who did all the work that we just talked about? Contributors like you. Contributors that were here before you. And it's pretty cool. And it can be even cooler. There's a lot of use of GitHub workflows. Oh, by the way, if you're like me and you get confused between GitHub workflows and GitHub actions, then ask that question on the discussion forum maybe. But I wanted to mention that folks like Abhi, who are on the call, well, they've written GitHub actions, and the Meshery project has like 6, 7, or 8 different actions published. I don't even know that they're all written down in the same place. But guess what? We need to write a couple of more actions too. So there's a fair bit to dig into. Anybody have questions? Anybody have comments? Anybody want to get their name on one of those? Is anyone here not to learn or not to contribute or not to? That's okay. So for some of us, we just want to hang out on the call and listen to bad jokes. But for some of the rest of us, we want that guy to shut up and to get into some of the code. So.
Hi, Pranav.
Yes, hello.
I want to contribute. Means I'm working like as a software tester, but I used a tool for testing a Selenium. But I don't have a knowledge on this as I'm a newcomer. But if I want to contribute, so to which technology I have to use or something, I don't have anything knowledge like yeah, what technology you are using. So if I want to contribute, so could you suggest means what I have to do? So then I can contribute.
Yes. Ideally, Golang is used for backend projects, but for testing, you can also use Bash script, which we use for the GitHub workflows, which we were just discussing. So that is the other areas. Like the workflows basically uses since it runs in Ubuntu system, so in that you can write to different batch scripts to perform different actions, and based on the enforcements, you can guess based on the outputs and the enforcement that you have added, we realize whether the test passed or not. So there are a handful of tests which are already written.
Okay.
Like we were just discussing about Meshery issue. So you can take reference from this, and then we can build upon that. There are a couple of tests which are failing on other adapters, which you can create an issue on that, and we can assign that to you. Like other than Meshery issue, there are other adapters as well. So I'll actually if you can create an issue, I'll take care of assigning it to you in other adapters.
Okay. I will contribute there, and just help me and just tell me how I can go. So
yeah,
just need a guidance, then I can complete it.
so considering there are no more questions or doubts, so moving on to the next item is from Abhi. Abhi, would you like to discuss about the mesh map snapshot CI/CD action?
Yes. Yeah, so since we are talking about CI/CD items here, so I just added it into the list. So we have recently built a tool which is a GitHub action come application. It uses, I mean, it converges both the YAMLs. Some part of it is a part of GitHub. I mean, internally it runs GitHub action, but it is distributed as a GitHub application as well. So you might take a look here. There is a pretty README that you can read and understand and digest. And there are a few issues written here, which you can look and let us know that if you can help and contribute or volunteer on these items. If you want to see the live I mean, live demo of how this behaves and how this works, then you can look into any of the PRs on the Meshery Meshery, and you'll be able to see it. So this this comment that you are seeing here is coming as a result of an action run from this repository. So yeah, you can check out to this branch. You can create your own fork. You can start this repository, and you can actually modify, test, and do all kind of stuff that it supports right now. There are few items, as I said, like which needs help. Uh, if you're comfortable with something like GitHub Action, or if you want to be comfortable with it, then feel free to comment. Feel free to volunteer on the items. I would like to see some names here if you're interested in this meeting minute. I'll see if you can help or how I can help you. Yep. That was it from my side. I'll just again ask for the volunteers to come out and just say hi or tell like, do you want to work on it, or what item do you work on? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so if nobody has any doubts, so moving on to the next item is from Abdullah and Fidish on inclusion of REST and GraphQL API docs in stable release channel. So Abdullah or Fidish, are you on the call to discuss this?
Okay, yeah, sure. All right. So basically, it was actually to make sure that if the REST API doc and the GraphQL API was actually deployed on release, and Abdullah actually opened an issue for that, which Suel worked on it. So yeah, like basically that's it. I mean, if Suel is here, you can just like go over the PR and yeah, tell us more. But unfortunately, Lee closed the PR. I don't really know why. So yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's it. As well, like you can go if you're here.
We should, first of all, we should probably lynch that Lee guy for some reason. But then second, yeah, if we have the PR, I could quickly speak to it to
Okay.
offer explanation.
That's like the PR.
Thibault, was this one of the ones on Redocly?
No. Actually, those one are for Swagger.
Oh,
So
nice.
the REST API is for. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, is this one? So the one that we're looking at, this looks pretty good to me. I don't know if this is the one that we're talking about, though.
Yeah, that's the one we're talking about.
Oh, nice. Okay. Wait, did this get closed and not merged?
Yeah. Actually, you closed it. You required some changing, but after you closed it, so yeah, it was kind of. But Abdullah reopened it, and he like.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. My best guess is I talk to about 200 and something people a day, process 400 notifications from GitHub, about 5 from Figma, 800 from email. But like there's a lot, 9,000 from Slack. Like I just probably hit the wrong button. I don't know. I need some more coffee, I think. Yeah, I don't know. If it looked like that one, then I don't know.
Yeah.
Oops.
All right. No, sure. Okay. Yeah, that's it.
I think next item is also from Fidish on addition of Grafana into Playground cluster. So
Yeah.
you can. Yes.
Yes, so basically on the 8th June, we had like a CI talk about Grafana. So actually in this file, so actually currently there is a Prometheus and a node exporter. So basically what it does is kind of to extract the matrix from the nodes. And yeah, and we said that we talked about that and said that it will be a good thing if we have also a Grafana script on it. And actually, Ashish says that he will actually check about if those things were Prometheus and yeah, and the node exploiter was still deployed. And yeah, he will verify it. And if it's still the case, if it's not the case, we will have like to redeploy them. So, but for now, I kind of worked on adding Grafana, the Grafana coughing map also for that. So he said that we can just do it on the same file, having like one for the Prometheus, the other one for Node Explorer, and yeah, and the other one also for Grafana. So that's it. I haven't opened API yet, so yeah, I'm kind of like wrapping everything around it, and yeah, probably tomorrow over the weekend. Yeah, that's it.
Thibaut, this is good. So one, Ashish is on leave or on hiatus from the project for maybe another month.
Okay.
And so, let's get you some support in the meantime, though. What you have here looks about right to me. So for context for everyone else, there's the Meshery playground, which some of you might have tried out. If you haven't tried it out, go do it because it's the easiest way to go play with Meshery. It's a live environment with live Kubernetes clusters connected, and this way you don't have to deploy Meshery or build Meshery yourself. You can just go use it. So if you don't have access, go to play.meshery.io. Sign up, you'll get access quick. That environment is intended to be a sandbox for people to learn all about Meshery, but also about all the technologies that Meshery manages. And one of those technologies is Prometheus and Grafana. And so there's a specific set of integrations that Meshery has for speaking to these technologies, for retrieving metrics from Prometheus and displaying them in Grafana compatible dashboards. That environment, the playground environment, it's not necessarily consistently running. We wipe it every night so that, because people can do basically whatever they want to do over there. And so, you can only get like, I don't know, a 1,000th of a crypto coin mined in a day, but people try. Just kidding. But we wipe it every night. And so there's no Prometheus or Grafana that's consistently running. So you're working on making that happen, which is really great because there's of the integration that Meshery has with Prometheus and Grafana. When people go look at Meshery and play with it, if there isn't a connected or there isn't a running Prometheus and Grafana, people don't see the nice charts and the other metrics that Meshery has. So that's a solution that, that's a problem that you're solving. And what you're doing is you're creating a namespace called monitoring. We want that namespace to be long-lived. So even though things get wiped every night, we would just flag that namespace, and you probably know this, but flag that namespace monitoring as being left alone or left persistent so that your deployment stays. There are two slight challenges, both of which one of the challenges is helping ensure that the Prometheus endpoint and the Grafana endpoint, the two services that are created, are exposed external to the cluster. Not a large challenge, so there's a Google slide it provides a visual diagram of what that environment is, the playground environment, the actual deployment. And there's a Google slide that covers that. So I'll find the link maybe and you guys can all go check it out. The point is Meshery is sitting external to the cluster. So when Meshery server tries to touch Kubernetes or Prometheus or Grafana, those two services have to be exposed external to the cluster. So Thibault, you probably know that, but I just wanted to highlight like that's one of the challenges. Have you addressed that challenge here in terms of like an ingress or?
No, not yet.
Okay, cool. So the second one, okay, here's the second one is maybe, and these are both surmountable, but well, it's just making, okay, so it's just making sure that Meshery continues to talk to Prometheus and Grafana even after that Meshery instance that runs it. Actually, I'm gonna pull up the slide, I think, and share it for everybody, because we're like talking about it long enough that we should probably make sure everybody's following along. Meshery architecture deck. Let's share my. Everybody should have access to this deck. Here's the link. Inside of this architecture deck. Well, all kinds of helpful info about how the project works, getting familiar with it. But this particular aspect of it, somewhere here. All right, so here's a slide, for better or worse, that covers the playground deployment. I'm going to do my best not to fully describe it, because I'm not supposed to take up all the meeting time. But Thibault, let's get you some access to the environment so you can start to deploy your manifests. And actually, Thibault, you already have access to the environment to deploy your manifests.
Yeah.
Like without it's basically the same access that everyone has to the environment, because you can just go into MeshMap or go into the playground.meshery.io, import your manifests, and deploy them through using Meshery. Once you get these IP addresses are static, and when the two services that you're going to expose outside of the cluster, when Meshery, that's running over here in a separate server, tries to reach out and touch them, you'll have a consistent IPs and you'll have a consistent namespace, and I think you'll be pretty good. It's when we make a new release of Meshery, those GitHub workflows that we were talking about earlier, in an automated way, one of the workflows goes out and updates or upgrades this instance of Meshery to the new release. And when it does that, we just want to make sure that that new version of Meshery also is aware of Prometheus and Grafana and reconnects. And it should. If it doesn't, you want to talk to Pranav Singh, who's hosting this meeting. That's all I have. You should start, or please, if you would, try to deploy your, let me know how it goes when you try to deploy those manifests. And also, if you, when you import those manifests, I encourage you to publish them to the Meshery catalog, to go through that publishing process. They would be public then, that would be kind of nice. I'd love to get a screenshot of what they look like inside of MeshMap. If you're successful with all of that, maybe we should go write a blog post or something, talk about, talk about the process.
All right, cool.
It just can't be in French.
So moving on, the next item is from WebHub on research on Cypress alternatives for testing. WebHub, are you on the call to discuss? I think
He's not on the call.
okay, so I think we are missing him, but a little bit of context, Abhi, would you like to give? Okay.
Yeah, so if you keep sharing your screen, yeah, so we are testing some alternatives to Cypress. So we have few Cypress tests that's already written, and we have when we are getting few problems maintaining that test in a long run, and we get issues every now and then. So there might be possibility that Cypress is coming in the way, because most of the time the issues are fixed, and they just the issue comes up again after some time. Other than that, our contributors had tried hard to cope up uh, with the items that cope up with the test that they have to write, and they just failed to do it with the Cypress. So we are just looking for some good alternatives that can win over Cypress, and that would provide the flexibility as well as stability uh, better than what Cypress provides right now. So there are few frameworks to research on, which is Playwright, Puppeteer, and some other ones if you suggest or know about. So if you scroll down, there are a few comments by Mario and Vaibhav. So Mario strongly suggests staying with Cypress, and I mean improving our own skill set to you know uh, stay positive with respect to testing, or stay all green in the current test suite. So yeah, so we still have to read through all these comments. I was just about to take a look at it. Vaibhav also gave some, if you scroll a bit down as well, I mean, the last comment would have been by, yeah. So he just tells about his experience with the Cypress, that he feels that it is quite unstable, and the Playwright being backed by Microsoft in this case is, it would be more stable and would be better to use here. Anyway, both tools are somewhat competitive to each other. One is new and one is old, so we just have to give our thoughts to the overall problem and do some POCs or research or anything related that would just solidify our, I mean, before moving further, we have to solidify on our framework choice. So that's what we are doing here.
So if anybody else on the call have more perspective or views on this topic, then consider adding your views in the issue comment, or creating a discuss forum thread on which other folks can also join in on your views. So does anybody have any questions on this? Unless we can move forward. So moving forward, considering nobody have any views. So next item is from Subidi on adding performance profile for each configuration. Subidi, would you like to discuss this item?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm working on an issue where I'm trying to show the Istio crypto performance test visible on the SMP. Wait, on the SMP dashboard. In the SMP dashboard, we run certain benchmark tests that scheduled run almost every hours or so, and then we store it. We show them in the we show them in the website as a dashboard with all the graphs and all the other configuration that the tests are run. So in a similar manner, I'm attempting to show one of the performance profile that contains Istio crypto as a service mesh. No, Istio as a service mesh, but the performance test with Istio crypto. And currently, yeah, I did make the schedule script and everything, but I think this script currently will not work as intended because of an issue that is component registration. So component registration happens only when we open the Meshery UI. So in the case of right now it only starts to register the components from Kubernetes when we open the Meshery UI. So if we go along with this, and the script will fail because there will be no, we will get this error, as you can see here. Just a minute. Yeah, could not find a component Istio operator. because this istio operator would not be registered after or would not be registered, or it would take a variable amount of time to register this, and we will not be able to like check anyhow. So it's kind of like I'm stuck here, and I guess Uzair did make a PR to make the API for the server registration dynamic. After that, I guess this will be fast track. And while I was like stuck on it, I was going through all the scheduled bank mass test and why Istio was failing, and I found out that okay, before I go into this, any questions on the Istio crypto thing?
Yeah, Subedi, quick confirmation. Did you say that we are able to run this successfully and do get test results, or
No,
that you?
no, not like we will be not with in script, not in CI right now.
Outside, if you do it manually,
Manually, at least not on my system, because it works on x86-64 architecture only, so not on an M1 Mac. I guess in Intel Mac or something, it can be run.
and then you said all this stuff, but then the reason that the script isn't working?
So the schedule script, right?
Yeah.
Because this thing, the istio operator could not be registered as a mesh model component, because the mesh model components start registering only when we open the Meshery UI. So even if I do install istio operator beforehand, but it will still fail.
Gotcha. And then there's an open, or maybe even recently closed PR with an API for this.
Yeah. Uzair just made a PR. It's not merged. Yeah, I've looked into it. If it gets merged, then I think this can be fast track.
Cool. Very good.
Okay. So that was for the istio crypto. Other thing was I was going through I was stuck. I was going through all these tests and going carefully to it, and I found one of the reasons why istio was failing was that this particular issue. And this particular issue was in fact pointed out by Michael also about 2 years 2 years ago, and I think this still persists. So yeah, whatever like he says, like we have to minify the config. If I do that, it does start to work. If I test it in my private repository, now when I minify the Meshery config, the Meshery service starts to work, and that where was it? This particular error gets resolved. So yeah, I just made a PR for that also, like to minify the quick config. And after this, we again have an error because I could not find the exact reason for this. Could not find a component with name application. So I would like to ask that, like, what is this error? The above error is sorted.
Abhi, do you?
Yes, actually, it's like we have moved away from core models, and this was the earlier implementation. Currently, what you have to do is, like I did it in one of the PRs, that you have to change them into a deployment type, and then it would start working. Basically, you have to do small modification in the design file that you're using. Okay, I've already. Are you using from service mesh patterns repo?
Yeah.
Because I already have a PR on that. We have to merge that PR. So then it will start working. We discussed this in the last one.
Okay. No, this is service mesh performance, not SMP action report.
No, but internally we use the same to install design file, which you can check in this thing.
Just a second. Yeah, this is the one which we service mesh pattern, mesh pattern. Yeah.
Yes, I have actually fixed this issue. So once we merge one of my PRs, then I think we missed merging it because we discussed this in the last call as well. I'll look into this.
Okay.
Thank you for listening.
Okay, yeah. So that the issue that I said about the X59 certificate is almost like was the main issue in almost all the scheduled benchmark, and then we were running that again. So yeah, after making that fix, I guess all the benchmark performance tests will have no errors. That's all. Yeah, that was it.
Okay. So, considering nobody have any doubts on this topic, then moving on to the next item. Let me see this. This is from Philip. Philip, are you on the call to discuss your PR on filter unit testing? The filter command of Meshery CTL, and you need question for that. Okay. I think he's not on the call. I can quickly give an overview of this. It's basically like Meshery have a number of different clients, whether it's your Meshery UI or it's Meshery CTL. So Meshery CTL is basically a CLI command for doing all the different stuff which you can do directly from the UI. But those who like CLI, then they would definitely go to the CTL stuff. So for Meshery CTL basically have different set of commands on which you can read more about in the documentation, one of which is filters command. And it basically helps you to manage your filters and do different manipulations with that. So this, I think this basically takes care of the recent additions to filters that we have done, that is downloading of filter, viewing filter, and other stuff. So okay, so that's the overview of this. I think Abdullah was reviewing this PR, so that's the thing. Anybody have any question on this? Any comment to make?
Nope. Has this internet made any comment there just yet?
No, I don't think so. No.
Abdullah.
Abdullah.
And now this. Okay, good. Good.
So I think Antonin is also not there on the call, so you can probably skip to the next item. But I can give a quick overview of this as well. So we were just discussing about different adapters that Meshery supports for managing different service meshes. For each service mesh, there's one adapter, and Meshery supports 10 different service meshes. So there are 10 different adapters, and each adapter have their own repository. So basically, till now, Meshery wasn't able to manage its own deployments of its own adapter. But recently, one of the contributors made that addition, but it was incomplete to the extent that it was just added for Docker, but not for Kubernetes. And also in Docker, there were a couple of missed out items which need to be taken care of right now, because there is a new UI in Meshery. If you can go to your playground, there's a new UI under extensions where you can directly install and uninstall your adapters. And by the way, this is also cool, which was recently added. So let's talk about this. In extensions, there are different cards for different adapters, and you can click on and off to just deploy the adapter. And the advantage of doing this is that so that everybody doesn't, like for any use case, you don't require adapters by own, because Meshery can do a lot of other stuff with just Kubernetes and even without Kubernetes. So that is just to ease on different use cases. So when Antoinette will come to this, we can probably discuss this in the next call. I think we have just discussed this item from Suhail about the fix for REST API docs. So next item is from me about Meshery stable release notes. Okay, so this item is all about adding the support for emailing the mailing Meshery developer mailing list on each new release of Meshery. So whenever you make a Meshery release, 1 second, let me show. We have a release drafter which actually drafts all the PRs in a very good format, which gives an overview of different PRs that was merged. And this is now released into an email to the developer mailing list. And this workflow is all about that. So if you have seen the recent release of Meshery, which was 0.6.107, then you should have seen an email which explains the different PRs that were merged. So this was a small item on that. And Does anybody have any question on this?
So
Okay.
that is that email that, well, what, so there's an email that's sent out anytime that there's a stable release that's made.
Yes.
And if, so there was one that a stable release was made yesterday, I think.
Yes.
So I guess if anyone is on the call and you didn't get an email about there being a stable release and to see the release notes, but you want to, they just sign up on the mailing list there, the developers at Meshery.io. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you scroll down, so there's a newsletter, but oh, I see. But there's a couple of different mailing lists depending upon what you're interested. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So next item is about the enhancement of edge release channel. So like, let me give a little bit of context about the release channels with Meshery supports. So Meshery supports different kind of release channels, whether it's a stable release channel or an edge release channel. So edge basically means that whenever the PR is merged, then we make an edge release. But whenever we click on that, release button on the drafter, then a new stable release is released. With the only difference is that if you want to get early access to the latest features, then you might want to subscribe to the edge release. Otherwise, you might, if you are most concerned about different stuff, then you might want to stay on the stable release. And these switching you can do very easily with Meshery CTL. So the only problem was that Meshery edge release wasn't supporting specific tags in the Docker image. And the whole requirement of this is that Meshery also connects to a remote provider, and remote provider actually enforces the minimum version that Meshery should be able to connect to. Because if a version earlier than the minimum version connects to, then it's like it can lead to different issues. So for enforcement and things, there is a minimum version that is enforced in the remote provider. And that enforcement was working fine with the stable releases, because in the stable release, what we do is that we seed, let me show you. Over here, this GitHub version is actually a constant that is seeded into the environment when this Docker image is built. So it was being seeded for our stable release, but for a edge release, we were doing a hard coding of edge latest, and that was actually not breaking, but it was not allowing people using edge release to actually sign into remote providers. So I added this fix for this specific thing, and now if you are using edge releases, then you can easily log into your Meshery UI, which is connected to a remote provider, and that is all about it related to this issue. So any questions anybody have on this one? And you can talk, you can check. Okay.
I guess just confirmation that one of the components, Meshery CTL, does it get released in this edge channel?
I don't think so, but I have to confirm, but I don't think so, because we make that only for stable releases.
So for edge releases, unlike a stable where users can go to the GitHub, there's like two places where a stable release is published. One's inside the docs, and it's just automated. If you go to the Meshery docs, you'll find a list of all the releases and all the release notes, and you might even see your name in there if you've been here for a little while. One of the build artifacts, all of the build artifacts, they're mostly is between containers that are created and Meshery, and a couple of binaries for Meshery CTL. Now, if you're a homebrew user, or a scoop user, I don't think we have a chocolatey package, but if you use different package managers, you can install Meshery CTL using that, or you can just download the binaries directly from GitHub, right? From the release, like the entry for the release on the releases page. So here, okay. So the last release was just yesterday. Okay, it was this one. Oh, nice. Okay, so you can download right from here for your system if you want, if you don't use one of those package managers. Okay. And then like you were just confirming, the releases that you see on this page, these are the stable, this is the stable release channel, or these are the stable releases.
Yep.
The containers for the edge releases that are done every time that you merge, those are pushed to Docker Hub, so you can just pull those anytime that you want. You can subscribe to that edge release channel. But yeah, okay, so not for Meshery CTL. In order to support this for Meshery CTL, I wonder what that would look like, or if that's even important, but I suspect it would look like a bunch of edge releases here, maybe. Or, yeah, I guess since the edge release channel is now versioned, it would, either that or just some open file system, open HTTP server where these are all published, if it isn't. But it seems like it would be, while it would be a lot of releases in this page, it seems like still it would be the easiest to implement because all of the process is here for, okay. Okay.
We can actually just post specific to just a number, that is edge 0.6.104, and it will remain on this particular release until we make a 0.6.105. So all the new stuff would directly be saved in just one folder. So we can go about that, I think.
So I don't know if people can tell, but part of the reason that we were having that conversation is so that people on the call, the contributors that are on the call, is that might strike interest for one of you to go do. Because I'm not going to do it. And Pranav is not going to do it. Anyway.
Okay. So moving on to the second last item, that is about fixing our catalog release, catalog updation. Okay.
If I can, I'm sorry to interrupt. I know that we're at the top of the hour, and that Dehab though did have a comment and suggestion about the extension, the Meshery adapters, and the way in which they deploy and undeploy. And so, Dehab, did you want to cover that?
Yeah, sure. So I don't know how to visualize it, but can you go to the extension page?
Extension, okay.
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah. So my thing is, like, if you enable or disable the extension, right? So it's not going to I'm specifically talking about the adapters. So it's not like it's deploying or undeploying instantaneously, right? It's an async process, right? That's why you show adapter processing. But then my question is like, so where I was confused was, so for now, it is like if you just check this toggle, right? It just it gets like switched on, right? But the thing is, in reality, the whole process is still like in the process, right? It's still happening. So what I thought we could do was like just show like a chip which says like deploying, or if you are undeploying like that, and maybe we can just replace this toggle with like a button itself, right? Maybe we can do that. But as for now, also it's like kind of hard to know like when it is deployed and when it is undeployed, because the GraphQL subscription that we are using and the global state that we are using, the mesh adapters, it is not getting properly updated. I mean, it also has like some problem with the like time and all. It doesn't load. The problem is also with the loading and stuff. So yeah, but what I was saying was like we can show the card so that the user doesn't get confused, like because it's not instantaneously happening, right? It's a asynchronous process.
Yes.
So maybe so it's like kind of an optimistic UI kind of thing. Just that's all.
Yes, that makes sense. Like adding a status kind of a button or a chip which explains the current state of the adapter.
Yep.
If you can open an issue on that, and then we can ask some of the contributors who would like to work on that.
Mhm.
So yes, that would be helpful.
Yep. Yeah, so that's that. So by the way, do I also talk about the test now or like later?
Like if it's short enough, then you can. Otherwise, we are already 2 minutes after. So
Yeah, it's very short enough. So the thing is, I haven't like researched much yet. I was actually going to write an RFC. I think Lee suggested on the previous call to write an RFC. I was going to, but then I saw like Mario, I think, commented, had some comments on GitHub, so I stopped right there because he gave some links, I think, on this issue. So I went through some of the links, and I also actually commented, and I would like to know further, like what we are actually proceeding with. Like I want some like comments, like more comments on this. So yeah, I would like continue after like we get all the feedback here. After that, I may propose an RFC or may not, like depending upon what kind of comment we get. Yeah. Yep.
that makes sense. So you can discuss it over here.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think we are already 3 minutes after, and we can discuss the remaining item or the new items in the next call. So I think that's it for today. So thank you all for joining, and we'll meet in the next meeting, which will be the 4th week of this month. Yeah. Till then, see you all in the next one. Bye. Thank you for joining.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.